What's up, Grappler fans? I hope y'all are enjoying my build series on my 1971 Crew Cab long bed F350 land yacht that is in need of some serious attention. It's got the old ketchup and mustard look to it. Doesn't run. It's only a 6-cylinder, 2-wheel drive. It's rusted out. It needs some love, and I'm planning on giving it a new life. But until then, I want to see if we can revive this old engine in here. I'm going to start off by kind of showing y'all more in-depth in and out of the truck because I kind of just glanced over it in the previous videos. Make sure y'all are kind of watching this as a series though, because it's going to be a whole year-long process, and you know, maybe even more than that if I can't get it done. But we're going to try to get this thing running today, or at least get started and figure out what she needs. I've showed y'all a sneak peek of the interior, but look at this big old truck, man. This thing is crazy. They made these bump sides from 67 to 72, and getting a crew cab was something that kind of only you know, the military or forestry service or something would get. So they're kind of hard to find, and it's pretty neat, like the little things about them. Let's see, I guess that actually still is locked, but got, you know, pretty basic stuff. Seat goes forward and back, should tilt forward, should have had a turn signal here. It's an automatic. Psych. It is a 4-speed manual, and she's got, you know, the original looking stereo, got the old heat settings there. None of this crap works as far as I know. No headliner in it, still got some sun visors. I got no key for it, but we do have this sweet trailer brake control, which will never be used again. Let's get here in the back seat, which is something that these old trucks a lot of times did not have. And in here, oh, it doesn't want to open that far. In here, I've got a couple extra parts, lots of spider webs. Just trying to clear that out. You can see right through the seat. That's pretty standard. But the gas tank is back behind the seat. Normally, it would be right behind the front seat, and the cab would stop right there. One thing I think is super cool is this little step that to kind of get up into the back seat, which I haven't sat in the back seat, but there's so many spider webs, I don't know if I'm going to. And I have 2 extra fenders back here that came with it, and I can tell they're kind of getting a little bent up in here. I need to be nicer to them. My bed is just sitting here. It's pretty solid though because it's so big, but there's no bolts holding it down. You see my little snake there to keep birds from making a nest in it. That seems to work, the little rubber snake trick. That's something I picked up a while back. Pretty solid homemade bumper on here. I like that. We've got Tennessee plates from 2003. Don't know if it even ran then, but we'll say it's been, you know, at least 15 years since this thing even fired up. Got some decent old school mud tires on here. They're 16-inch wheels. I love these steel wheels. It's got a crazy like lip to it also. It looks like the wheel is here, but then this is like an extra beadlock type deal. It's really strange how that works. Big old honking leaf springs. I want to say this is a Dana 60 rear axle. Don't know for sure, but being a 350 with a little 6-cylinder, I'm sure they put a pretty beefy axle under it to give it a good low gear ratio. Other sides, some of the same. Don't have a back window on this passenger side here. Some funky looking tow mirrors. I haven't seen these before. Don't hate them. Not exactly what I'm planning on keeping. And you can kind of see the badging here. It's got custom F350. Normally you'd have Ford across the hood. Don't like this grill at all. I'm gonna go with the older style, like 1967 or 68 or so grill. This is a pretty cool little badge. It says Crew Cab here, and that is obviously unique to the crew cabs. And up here we can take a look at the roof. That's pretty much my new truck in a nutshell. Some of y'all have been following, you know, I had a big 2011 King Ranch that was on 40s, and awesome truck. You know, I tuned it up a good bit, put a whole new motor in it after having some issues and blowing the thing up, and just dumped a lot of money into it, and came to the realization that I'd rather dump money into something old that will be, you know, pretty unique when it's done, and you know, really a showstopper. So I'm trying to go all out with this thing, but as of right now, it is a hunk of junk that I'm just gonna have fun with until I can really get started. I still need some parts, and if you're following along, you know I've got a donor truck laying over there on some blocks. But let's get started with trying to see if this thing will run. This truck is as I got it, not running, totally untouched. All I did was strap the bed down to the frame and tow it here. And one thing we're gonna need is a key. We've got no key here, but luckily my little donor truck over there came with a whole new mechanical part of the ignition, so I'm hoping I can swap this one out. I'm gonna start with doing that, but let's look at what else we're gonna need before we can even try to get this thing to turn over. I'm gonna pop the hood here. This thing is pretty darn hard to open. One on. Nice and tight. And a little bit of rust falls out every time that I open the hood. Oh man, that hit me in the head too. Yeah, that's great. That's good. Yeah, maybe I will need a new hood. We'll see. Okay, so in here, a couple things missing. First of all, a battery. So that is the main concern I'm seeing under here. We've got no air intake, no air filter or anything on top of the carburetor. So that's probably full of gunk. We already have some dirt daubers I see just kind of hanging out in any place they can get. So who knows what went in there and died. Probably smells like death once I start turning this thing on. It looks like somebody changed the oil filter sometime in the last decade, so somebody may have tried to get this thing running because that looks way newer than the rest of this stuff. Maybe a new distributor cap. We'll check that out. You can see this is the coil here that makes the spark from the battery and goes right in here and then sends the spark to all the different spark plugs, which we have 6 because this is a old 300 inline 6. So we'll take this cap off and you can see a rotor there. This is your cap, has little metal connections on it. And we have points and condenser, which is pretty old school style here. You pretty much your spark like kind of gets charged up in here and then releases on these little doohickeys as you let me try and put this back on here. Probably should remember how that went on. Hopefully, there we go. So as this turns, that should kind of open a little bit, which doesn't seem like it's doing. But this thing spins around and it kind of sends out spark, and that sets your timing pretty much mechanically. And we've got some missing connections here. This guy looks pretty decent. This connector should go on the coil somewhere. I gotta figure out which side. But then the other side, there's another little threaded guy there. And I think just this loose wire, which somehow made it on the trailer just chilling in here, might go to it, but I don't know where it goes after that. So we're gonna have to figure that out. And this is the fuel pump here that sucks, fuel through this hose, which is broken. It should go to right there, and then it kind of follows the frame back to behind the back seat. Goes up and over the engine and into your carburetor. That obviously isn't going to work, so I'm going to have to put a jug in here. But most of that's pretty easy stuff. I don't know what I'm doing with this wiring, so I'm going to have to try to figure that out some. I can replace parts as needed. Like most mechanics, you just throw parts at something until it works. But this is not going to be that easy. We will see here. I think this is a windshield washer freaking box here, which is kind of funny. Don't need that. And of course we got the old PA system or something going on here. And you know what I just noticed? This thing had like actual brake booster on it. My old one just had this master cylinder. I may be getting my terminology wrong, just right to the body there. And I know I already peeked in here that there is not a single ounce of brake fluid in there, maybe a couple of drops. And this thing has no brakes, which I figured out when I rolled it off the trailer and it kept going. So we have to figure out all that stuff. But first of all, we need to see if this thing will even try to start, make any noise, do anything, see if it's locked up, which who knows, it could be. So we're going to try this thing out, see what we can do. Before I forget, I just thought, let me make sure I put it in neutral so that we're not just wasting our time. Get this big old, this clutch doesn't feel like it works right. Get this big old freaking schlong shifter in here, make sure she's in neutral. That feels neutral-ish. Kind of hard to tell, there's a lot of different places it can go. This knob is kind of cool. I don't know if you can see, if I hold the camera upside down, you can see pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4 and reverses over to the right. Don't know if that's the original knob, but it looks like it. And in here we've got lots of nice springs and nuts and bolts on the old dash pad here that's seen better days. Alright, let's get started with it, see what it'll do. I'm going to throw a battery in it. Luckily I've got one that does not work, that's totally dead, that's been in my shed for a while, but at least it'll give me something to jump to, and you know, I can at least set something in here and make it look better. Alright, so we've got, this is going to be my negative because it's going to a ground on the engine block, I believe. You can tell, you know, because of the way it is. This is positive, you know, they're both the same color. I'm guessing here, I think it's positive. It's going to the starter relay or whatever here that goes down to the starter. So I'm going to orient this thing so that those line up right, and hopefully it doesn't fall through this hole here. Let's see what we can do. Alright, there we go. So this is, I think, positive. It's a dead battery anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We'll put this guy here. Yeah, it's not doing anything. It doesn't have any sign of juice left in it. Okay, we got that figured out. Let's see what we can do about this key. I'm going to try to swap over this ignition out of my other truck, see if we can't get it to fit in here and plug up right electronically. Alright, I think I got y'all pointed in the general right direction. You probably can just see my forehead, but got the old key here and ignition from my donor truck over there, and you can see the key says for Ford cars, so that looks pretty original-ish, or at least old. And this basically just screws apart here, and then you pull it out through the back. So I'm going to try to do the same thing with the one I've got here and see if she'll go in there. Not exactly sure how this connection works in here. This looks like just a piece of metal. This is pretty tight, so we got the old trusty vice grips, and we're going to see if we can, I made that too loose. Let's see, tighten that up a little bit. Too tight. I don't know if it'll be able to grab on here or not. It's pretty rounded and smooth. Come on. Alright, well, I just want it tight enough I can freaking turn it. I may end up doing the old flathead screwdriver on these notches maneuver. Oh yeah, we're in. About to steal this thing. Nope, not yet. Okay, keep going. There we go. Getting some turn action. Oh, while I'm here, y'all might think this is cool if you're not familiar with these old trucks. You pull that for your headlights. There's a button down here on the floor for your high beams that I'll have to show y'all later. If you're not familiar with that, this is your wipers. It says wiper washer. I don't really know. I know it should be like to pull in your wipers go, but I don't know why it says washer. And then, what does this say? Emergency flashers. That's pretty cool. I like these big old knobs on here. But we got this guy started. There we go. Let's see. Vice grips just fell. I thought it was a snake. Don't know what. Who knows what's been living in here? All right. This trailer brake thing is like right in the way. I don't know what's in the dash. It's gonna try to get me. But it's scary. Alright. Feels disgusting in here. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Oh, there we go. Just bend that out of the way. Don't need that. Man, this is really a short wire setup here. This is as far as it wants to go. Okay, well, it looks the same. Now, how do I disconnect it? I just got this separated from the connector. As you can see, I still need to get this black piece out and into that one. Hopefully that's doable, and this thing looks pretty crusty. I don't even know if it's going to work anyway. Not sure if I'm making progress or if I'm just breaking it, but I'm going to keep hitting it with a hammer and see what happens. Oh, I got a little bit of wigglage going on now. Let's see if I can get the flathead in there. Try out this comfy seat here. Oh, we're onto something. Okay. Feel free to roast me in the comments if you actually know how to work on these old things, but I'm just here for the old body. She's going to be pretty nice and new underneath. Oh, how did that go in there? We got springs, these connectors here. These two pieces just fell out. Got some brass stuff. I don't know how any of this works. Alright, let's see. This seems like it goes into here. Alright, I can see how the springs go. Nope. Alright, it goes like that. No, I have no idea. Well, I'm going to try to put it back together on the other one. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, 2 springs. Putting all this into the holy seat, so I'll probably lose some of it. Alright, that came out. So I got a lot more parts than I thought, but now our 2 ignitions at least look the same. So I'm going to try to fit this thing together. We got the old one. We'll throw that guy out. And let's see. Alright, we got some doohickeys in there. Just kind of try to get it to fit. That seems good. That turns that thing. Alright, springs. Got a big spring. And a little spring. And then this stuff that I don't know how it works. Oh, I bet one of them goes on the big spring, one goes on the little spring. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, oh. That's not what you want. What happened? Oh, I knew it. This little spring popped out. Okay, start over. Well, I fumbled my way through that and just hammered it back together. It's not as tight of a fit, but I think that ought to work. And should have a semi-functioning key. And I think if I put it back together right, that's probably backwards, because it seems like it's going to go right back off. But it'll go that way. Yep, I'm pretty sure I did it backwards. I don't know. I'll try it. See what happens. The spring in there kind of decides where it sits, and once I put it in, if that's straight, I don't know. I'm going to try it out. Let me plug it back in. See what it does. Got that. Is that the run position, or is that off? I feel like that's off. Yeah, that should be start, and that spring. I don't know. Let me shove it back in here. Actually, maybe I'm not going to shove it back in here until I try it. I'll just leave it like this. See how that goes. Now that I have a professionally installed brand new ignition and a top-notch non-working battery and no daylight, I'm going to try to bring the old cat eye over here and jump start this thing and just see what happens. You know what? Maybe I ought to connect these loose wires first, because I know there won't be any spark if the coil's not connected. So let me fumble with that. I can at least show y'all this one. I think is from the ignition, goes into the firewall, and this says battery on this side when I looked at it. So I'm going to put this guy here, and then I'm going to just kind of figure something out with this wire. I'm going to try to put it to this wire. I just dropped it on the ground, and I'll get this cap on here right. We'll just see what she does. And this went to something, but it's totally crusted and rusted out. Alright, let's do a little wiring and hope for the best. Got the cat eye pulled over here. I'm using the headlights to give me a little light, and it's not shining on anything that I want to see. we'll see how that goes. And I'm basically just using this dead battery as a way to hook the cables up that's not going to touch any other metal. So I'm going to go ahead and crank up old Buster here and let it charge the battery for a little bit, even though I don't think it's going to hold a charge at all, while I try to get this wiring somewhat pieced together, probably incorrectly. Alright, I've got a little bit of good wire here. I'm climbing in, sitting on the train horn in here. Now I'm going to try to connect this wire on both ends to whatever's already in here and hope that's the right stuff. I got to take a little bit off of this wire. See, I know y'all can't see anything. I will get a light for the rest of this video, but right now, oh, that just broke off. Okay. Right now, I'm just trying to see what I can get done before dinner. Wow, there's no wire in here. Which one's longer? The old twistaroo on it, because this thing isn't going to go far if it ever does run. I'm not too worried about it. I do have some connectors that may work better if this doesn't work out. Oh, that's definitely got some power to it. I just saw a spark. Yep, that's doing stuff. I'm gonna disconnect the battery real quick. I didn't think it would really do much on this wire, but that's doing something. So we're making progress. All right, I've got my flashlight and GoPro in the same hand here. You can see my crappy connection there, and that's just kind of touching there, if you can even see that. I do have my cap back on, halfway crooked, but that's all on there. And the first thing I want to do is see if, now that I've got some power going to it from the Buster over here, I'm going to see if I can get any of these spark plug wires to spark. So I've got a crusty old spark plug laying around somewhere. I think it's in my shed, actually. Yep, it's in the shed. And I'm going to try to turn the ignition we rigged up here. Here's some more light on that. And see what we can do. See if the engine wants to turn over and kind of go from there. But I'm hoping for spark. I'm hoping for the engine to turn. That's all I can hope for right now. Really, it's obviously not going to run. There's no gas. But yeah, let's see what happens. Got my trusty rusty spark plug from my 1968 that I've already tested on my four-wheeler. I know this one will spark if there is spark. So instead of pulling out this whole plug here that may be seized in there, and it could be a good plug, they look relatively fresh in there. Let me try to get one of these off. I'm just going to test it on this known to work plug. Just because it's a new plug doesn't mean it's a good plug. Just because it's an old plug doesn't mean it's a bad plug. So I'm going to try to get this in here. Might need both hands, but yeah, then I'm going to lay it on something metal, maybe here on the, get some fresh metal on the fuel pump, and we'll watch, see if it sparks when I turn the key, and we'll see if anything happens. I'm not going to hold my breath on this one. I got a key that doesn't belong to this truck crammed in there. The battery is questionable. Whole setup, I don't really know if I'm getting any juice, but we're going to start with just turning the key. I'll show y'all from inside, and we'll see if we hear this thing turn over, and then we'll focus on the spark plug, see if there's any spark. So let me try to get in here. I'm going to have to, oh, we have a light. This is the first time I've seen a light in this truck. That's the alternator saying that it's not working. That's pretty cool to see. I don't really have much light in here if y'all see anything else. How about that? Alright, we've got my key here. I'm going to put y'all where you can see the engine and give her a turn and see what it does. Oh, I just had a spark. Something sparked. Did y'all see that? Over by the starter relay. Yeah, that sparked one time and stopped. I think I just blew something up. Well, we'll address that. I put this project off for a few days. Okay, maybe a week or so. But my anniversary was right after I started messing with this truck, and I realized I had way too much to do to get ready for that because we went on a trip, and I had to leave for a week for that. Didn't have to, I got to. It was a great time. We rode bikes at Hilton Head and paddleboard and everything. All good things. But I now have purchased some parts. I went up to O'Reilly's and got a little goodie bag of hopefully what I think will be enough to do the trick for this old 300 inline six that hasn't ran since probably like the year 2000. So I'm going to see if this will work. I'll show you what I got, but first I wanted to give y'all a little bit more background story on how I picked up this truck and how we loaded it on the trailer, because this is a big old truck and it is not light, and we also had a good time going to get it. So here's some clips from that, and then we'll get right back to what I just bought. This thing is a tank, and Megan somehow managed to put the GoPro in time-lapse mode, so this is what we got, but you get the idea. We're checking everything out, making sure it's lined up right. We decided to just push it straight up with the tractor. I did have a winch with me, but the bumper on the back of this thing is getting changed anyway. It was just way more easy to push it straight up. So once we get it all lined up, I'm checking it out. I'm still skeptical that the trailer is big enough based off the wheelbase and how long the trailer was. I knew it would fit, but I mean, look at it. It's a massive truck. But as you can see here, we get this thing pushed up on here. No worries. Not the best at getting this thing straight, as you can see. I end up having Megan help me with that, and I'm looking out the driver's window at the tire, and I'm like, oh, I need a little bit of room. Well, I about run the thing off the passenger side. She's trying to tell me I can't see her, and then as we get closer, I figure out what she's trying to tell me because we're stuck on my tire. Then she tries to use her 120-pound self to hold this thing from coming any farther forward, which I think is hilarious, but luckily that's as far as we were going anyway. She's on there. We ended up pushing it back a little bit to kind of balance the weight out a little bit, but the old cat eye managed to bring her home. We just had to throw this in here real quick. We just stopped at a Milo's for the first time. Not exactly sure where we are, but we've heard about their sweet tea. And we went in there, and the lady could tell we had never been there before. So she offered us some of their barbecue sauce and some French fries to try before we even bought anything. It was super good. Yeah. And then she walked us through the whole thing, told us what was on the burgers and stuff. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Sorry about that. But I ordered a double cheeseburger, and it actually has 3 patties on it, so I got extra there. They did a military discount for us.
We have a little kitty burger.
Yeah, they were willing to, change it and everything. We got a pie with it. So far, everything's super good. The tea's good. I'm very impressed with our fast food experience, because usually people are just in and out, but yeah, they were it was like we were at a restaurant actually.
Yeah, she was so nice. And let's just do a taste test. You gotta try some of your burger.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little. You do burger while I do a fry.
You do fry. You talk about the sauces.
Okay, so they said this is ranch and barbecue sauce mixed in, but it kind of like chicken finger sauce or something.
It's so good. I think I just did onions, pickles, ketchup, and Milo sauce.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
Yeah, very solid.
The burger, this is gonna sound weird. I really like frozen burgers, like those fast break ones you get from Food Lion or Winn-Dixie. They're $1, and they're kind of gross because they're frozen. And I hate to say this reminds me of it, because I feel like people are gonna think it's bad, but I think it's good. It's super good. It's not your normal I was worried it's gonna be like a cookout burger.
Yeah, it's almost like a little. It's like a big White Castle or something.
Yeah, like a big White Castle, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Super good. That's my kind of burger. I'm not a grilled out burger person. I'm like a McDonald's frozen cheapo burger person.
So yeah, we strayed from Chick-fil-A, which is our go-to.
Always get Chick-fil-A every single road trip.
Yeah.
And we get Chick-fil-A there and back.
Ooh.
Does not matter. We always get it.
Let's try Milo's, and so far we're excited.
It's been super good.
Yeah. Would recommend. At first glance under here, it looks like the spark plugs aren't that old. Neither are the spark plug wires. They've got duct tape on them where somebody numbered them not too long ago, I don't think. At least I hope not. And as y'all saw, I got my old spark plug that I know will spark if it has spark. This coil, though, looks like it's seen better days, and I could test it, but I figured I'd go ahead and get one while I was at O'Reilly's. It was like $25 or so. Now, if I don't need it, I just won't use it, and I'll take it back, but this shiny new one should definitely make some spark. And let's see if I can get it out. So yeah, that looks a lot more likely to make some spark happen than the one that's in there. And inside this distributor cap, got some old junk that isn't gonna do much, so we'll try to replace it too. Let's see if I can get this off. I feel like it should be easier once. There we go. So we got that somewhat out of the way. So yeah, here is our old rotor that I showed you. It doesn't look too bad. I might clean it up a little bit. I feel like that's still going to do something. So I didn't buy a new one of those, but I did get a new condenser and a set of points here because those look pretty crusty, and it's only like $8 for a new set of those. So I'm going to slap those in there. And the next thing I got that looked pretty crusty and concerning was this cable that goes down to the starter from the starter relay here. These cables don't look terrible, and they're of a thicker gauge, but this one is totally crispy and fried, and I think that's why I had that spark when I tried to start it up the other night. So I'm gonna put a new one of those on there. Let's see, show you all this new stuff. Got one that I think will be long enough to do the trick. Yeah, it might have got longer than I need. And let's look in here at our new stuff. Here is my new set of points. Hopefully that will fit in there and is the right size. It looks pretty standard. And I got a condenser in here. There's my new condenser. So we're gonna start slapping that stuff in there and see how much of a difference that makes. I still think my key might be backwards in here because the way I have it set up, it wants to return to the off position. When I turn the key, it's like spring loaded back to off, and I think if I had it in there the other way, it would stay on run. I'm not really sure. I rigged that thing together, but we're gonna give her a shot. I'm gonna start with taking this coil off and at least getting it out of the way to get to my points and condenser. It's a 9/16 in case anyone cares, and this one was already kind of loose. I'm just gonna take this whole bracket off and get it out of the way. Alright, that ought to be finger tight by now. Oh, perfect. Alright, so that mechanism here just kind of clamps it and also holds it to the engine, and then the coil should come out like that there, maybe. Nope. There went my bolt right into the ground. Okay, there we go. There's my clamp. Old coil. I haven't tested it, but it looks pretty crusty. I know I should, but I'm gonna try the good one out first, or at least the new one, and hopefully that'll give me some spark without having to fight with low voltage or anything. Looking down in here, it looks like it just takes a flathead to get these couple of screws out, which is convenient. I already had one handy to get that cap off. I think I'm gonna try to stand right in here. I know there's plenty of room in here. I could kind of sit over here, but if I could stand right there, I'd be real nice and tight and close there. I'm gonna try that out real quick. Oh, right. Oh, yes. Okay. Yep, there's the ground. Oh, my legs are too fat for this. They don't make them like they used to, boys and girls. Look at that ease of maintenance right there. We are in the engine bay. I have become one with my dream truck here. Now, if this was a V8, it'd be harder, but we got a nice skinny inline 6 in here. Literally at arm's reach. My arm is just straight down to this, and this ought to make this easy. I've never really stood exactly right here. I've had a couple inline 6 old bump sides, but this is the first time getting quite this personal with one. Let's see what we can do. Got my screwdriver here. Don't know if I'll be able to hold the camera and do this, but we'll give her a shot for y'all. Here's my condenser screw, and that already fell. Great. Let's see, I'll just store that right there in the car, but that's not important. Alright, so there's a little ground wire that's probably rusted out. I need to make sure I reuse. Let's see. Alright, there's that. Okay, it's got a little connection on there, so once I get those screws out, that should be easy. I'm gonna go ahead and try to slap that new one in. Trying out this angle, let me know how you like it. Probably can't see anything, but I got both my hands now, so that's good. I'm gonna, oh, I already forgot that ground wire that I just said not to forget. Okay, let's see. Y'all could probably just see my hands, but you get the idea. Putting bolts and holes. Alright, that's, oh, it's got a little alignment mark there. That's nice. That's what that holds for. Okay, we got that kind of snug in there before I forget to tighten it. Here, there we go. Get this so it's not all bound up. Alright, that's installed. Now there's my shiny new connection here. And let me get this guy off of here. Maybe. That's nice and tight. That shouldn't be so tight. There we go. So much room for activities in here. I can put stuff anywhere. It's not going to be like that for long once I start messing with it. Unfortunately, I really enjoy having something that's easy to work on, but I'm going to cram an engine that was never designed to fit in here. So, there goes that convenience. Okay, now I've got my points here. They are a little crusty, but you see how that works, you know, as the thing spins and opens that. I don't trust these long enough to even try them. I just need to get this guy off of here, and I have all my sockets outside the truck, so I'm going to have to climb back out. Awesome. Do not be fooled. I do not know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it. Wow, that was pretty loose. I probably could have gotten it with my fingers if I was strong. Alright. That, let's just kind of slide out now. Maybe. That one slid out. I ought to just replace that, but I don't have a replacement. Okay. So those slid out. There's the old condenser doobad thing. Throw that away. And the old, why did I just do, oh yeah, because it was connected to the truck. I was like, that was pointless. Alright, we got that off. Here's my new one. It's got the same kind of dealio, probably an 8 as well. I smell an electrical fire already, and I haven't even started. So that's exciting. I think somebody's burning some plastic somewhere. Oh, alright. Why is this so tight? Okay, there we go. Alright. Y'all probably can't see from there. Let's try this angle out though. Y'all let me know if you like this angle. It's going to be too late to do anything about it by the time you comment, but you know, why not? Maybe I'll end up doing this again and I'll know what is a good angle and what's not. Okay, so this goes in here, something like this. Got this little alignment pin that goes in this hole, and then a screw goes here and here. I'm going to start off with connecting these two doodads. Try to clean that up a little bit. It's not rusty though, so that's good. So these screws kind of adjust your gap too, so you got to make sure you don't send them in there. There's a big range of adjustment that will vary how the truck runs a lot, or if it runs, so we got to make sure we set that. So I'm just going to get these kind of snug so I can still adjust it. I hear a little matchbox. This is a good way to kind of guesstimate the right adjustment for points. I've got some cardboard from all these boxes that came with it, so I'm going to do a little bit of cardboard kind of thing and totally wing it. So I'm taking this here. Megan wants to watch me work inside my truck. What do you think of me standing in here?
It's very interesting. It might fit in here.
Yeah, it's pretty roomy. You should try the other side. You could probably fit.
I don't think so.
So I've got this piece of cardboard. That's probably too thick. So I just want to do like that thick. I think is good. Maybe, who knows. And also that's supposed to be off of the corner, I think. No, because it's got a, I don't remember. You know what? I have no idea what I'm doing. I thought I did for a second, but I think this gap goes in between the little points that actually touch here on the scissor part. So we got to get it like when it's open, have that much. And it's not going to be open right now because it's on a flat. So I'd have to turn the engine a little bit until it's on a point. I'm going backwards, I think. Alright. Now it's on a point. That was easy. I guess the motor's pretty free. So I just turned that, and now you can see my points are open about yay much, a little bit too much. And so I'm just going to kind of, hang on, I'm going to get this just right on the point here. There we go, that's right there. And then I'm going to put this in here, hope for the best. And then I'm going to adjust this until it's like tight on the little piece of cardboard here. We'll try that out. That feels happy. I don't know. We'll see. This stuff is all made before I was ever even thought of. Too young for this crap, but let's see here. I'm just eyeballing it at this point. Would not recommend. So now I've got new points of condenser installed. That took all of about 10 minutes. That's not too bad. I'm sure your grandpa could do it faster back in the day, but it's only my second time doing it. Alright, that's all in there. Put my rotor back on or else we definitely won't have any spark. That's in there. And as this spins, it closes and stuff. I think I got that good enough. So here's this cap. It doesn't look that old to me. You can see here in the center you've got a little point that goes to your coil. So that's this doohickey that's disconnected, and that will go right here, you can see, to this part of the rotor, and then this little connection here somewhere hits each one of these as it goes around. And obviously, you know, it doesn't hit them all at once, it does one at a time, and that's your, you know, your timing, your firing order. It does one spark plug at a time to make sure that this thing is, you know, firing on the right part of the cylinder stroke. So you got to get all the timing set up and everything. I'm not messing with the timing, hoping that it's still right. That could be the problem with this thing, why it stopped running in the first place, but I'm hoping for the best, that it just had some ignition issues, and starting with that. So we'll put this guy on there, hopefully on the right way. Yeah, I think that's where the cables are. Little clip-de-doos right here. There we go, 2 of those. These are nice and tight. Okay, that's on there. Now, I've got this wire that I had already rigged my blue wire that I found under the hood together. I'm going to re-rig it and hope that that holds. This wire is pretty crispy. I should have bought a new one. But I'm only doing this for y'all. I don't care if this truck runs because it's getting a whole new engine, but you said you wanted to see it fire up one last time, so I'm throwing a little money at it. Alright, we got a nice connection there. That's actually holding better than I expected. Now this is going to go to my coil on one side. This is black, so I'm thinking it's negative. Don't know for sure. And I'm going to be real gentle with this coil because I don't want to mess it up in case this is a total waste of time, and hopes that I could maybe take it back, because, you know, it's not like I'm installing it and driving this thing to work one time or anything. I'm just going to see if she goes. And I've got the battery disconnected, which the battery's broke, just so y'all know. Battery ain't got no juice. Alright, this is going in here. Nice little loop-de-doo, and then I'm going to snug her down. So that's on there very sloppily. Don't know if that's going to be a good connection. And that could be the wrong side too. It's negative, and I'm thinking that would be the black wire. Don't know what color this wire is, but it seems like it came from the ignition. So I'm going to assume that's positive, and it's got a little clip-y guy on there, so I'm just going to kind of get her to sit, maybe. I heard it clip earlier. I think I wore it out. Alright, there's no going back now. They're going to know it was installed now that I put this doohickey on there. I'm going to attach it in the proper location, even though that is no fun. And of course I left the socket for this out on the ground with my socket set, but we'll just kind of get her hand tight there. Yeah, this bolt's very easy to turn. I'm surprised. Alright, that's hanging, dangling there. And then I got my dirty old crusty coil wire on there. Doesn't really seem like it wants to fit. That could be good or bad. At least it's tight. Those wires are hanging. That's chilling. Okay. we have some wiring installed here. Now that I've got the ignition system freshened up a little bit, hacked together is more like it, I was kind of second guessing my actual ignition setup, so I came in here and started messing with it, and I think I've got it right. I unplugged it and ended up kind of breaking it and having to rebuild it a couple times, but I think I've got it now where it will, this is right side up, I think. Here, let's see. So that is off, run, and then start has like a spring action to it, because before it was like, let's see, it was like spring and then off, like it was not in there right. So this feels more legit to me. I'm gonna try plugging that in and hope I have a working ignition now, but again, I got run and I think start feels better. Don't really know what I'm doing, but we're gonna keep going until something happens. I actually went ahead and fully reinstalled this here. You can see what I'm talking about. That's run, that would be start and off, and then that's like your accessory there. I'm feeling a little bit too confident that that is correct, so that's probably not right, but at least now it's not dangling there. And I'm gonna get started on trying to replace this starter wire here that's all crusted out. This is probably the worst wire I've seen so far, which kind of makes sense because of how hot that thing can get with trying to start these old trucks up. But I'm hoping I can reach down in there from the top and not have to climb through these spider webs to get in there from the bottom. Yep, sure enough, there's a little guy right there. No thank you. I've come to the conclusion that this is a 3/8 down here. I don't know if there's anything on the back side. I'm hoping not, because that'd be super hard to get to. Feels like it's coming loose. Yeah, I think it has a little bracket there that threads into. Ideally, I can get this off. I'll show you how bad this thing is. It's really bad down here on the starter side. And I don't know if this starter works or not, but I'm hoping I can at least smack it with a hammer enough to get it to work. But I don't know if I'll be that lucky. Okay, so there's the difficult end to get to. Look at this frickin' thing. Corroded and just crusty. I bet I could snap it right in half. It is super brittle. Oh, it's just gross. Yeah, this thing, that's gonna do a lot just replacing that, hopefully. I'm gonna go ahead and put the new one on this hard to reach spot because it's a different size on the other end. So while I've got the right size on my ratchet, I'll try to get this guy in here. Plenty of room, but everything is so rusty and freaking everything hurts on this truck. So far, all this stuff has either been messed with before or luckily just wasn't rusted solidly in place. I've been able to get most of the bolts out that I've tried so far, so that's always nice, but we'll see how long that lasts. Once I get to the more difficult stuff, I may have more issues. Alright, let's see. That's nice and snug, and it looks like my guesstimations were correct. I have just enough, maybe a little bit extra of cable here, so I'm going to connect that. This guy over here was a 1/2 inch, and also wasn't that hard to take off. I should have bought another one of these, but I think I can make it work, even if that doesn't work. We'll see here. I'd like for this thing to work in the normal way that it's supposed to with all the little components, but sometimes I can get around those things if need be, and we can just kind of rig it and get it to make some noise and fire up, and that might satisfy it. But I'd like to drive this thing around a little bit. I don't know about y'all, I'd like to see how this 4-speed manual works, and maybe throw some brake juice in there and actually make it run, drive, and stop. Got the new starter wire hooked up, battery cable's reconnected. Again, this battery is totally shot, and it's being held in place by this nice bungee cord. But you see I got some jumper cables hooked up to Buster over here. We're going to put a little juice to it, and I think I'm forgetting something, but let's go ahead and see what it'll do. I've got the key in place here. I just saw I do have the alternator light again, so At least we have that going for us. I think it's still in neutral. Yeah, sure, we'll call that neutral. Let's just see what happens. Oh, nothing. I heard a noise though. Maybe I don't have any starter action. Let me hit the starter with a hammer and see if that does anything. I tried hitting it from the top. No luck, so I guess I gotta brave the spiders now. Let's see if I can get under here. Where the heck even is the starter? Maybe I should go in from the front. Isn't it right here? Oh yeah, there she is. The camera could see it, but I couldn't. Alright, I got my big mallet here. Just lay y'all down so y'all can get the full effect of everything falling on you. Just like me. Wake up, old thing. Just got it to make some kind of noise. Let's see what's happening here. That does not sound healthy. I don't know if that's the starter trying to turn. I hope so. But might be some crazy arcing going on in here. Don't really know. I'm gonna set you guys over here so you can watch, and we can try that one more time and see what happens. What is that? I'm thinking maybe I have a bad ground on my negative side here, so I'm just gonna bypass these wires and just run the jumper cables, the negative to this bolt down here on the side of the engine mount that I somewhat cleaned up, and then I got the positive straight to the positive side of this starter solenoid, I think is what it's called actually. And then when I turn the key, it should let power go through it, and I'm hoping that will give it enough juice to turn the starter over. I'm not really sure if I have a bad starter, but I'm hoping I don't, because that's one of the more expensive pieces here. So let's I got that already connected. I don't know if I have enough cable to do both of these. We'll see. I might have to rig something up. Let's see here. That did absolutely nothing. I guess I don't have power. I don't have power going to anything else because of how I have that hooked up. I'm not sure why. Let's see. Oh, I guess because of all these wires. No, I should have juice. That's weird. I guess I don't have a good connection here. Or maybe that ground is actually worse. Or these could have come off. Oh, alright. Nope. Alright, well, that's not going to do it. What's up, guys? It's the next day. I kept working on this thing for a little bit last night. I did not want to give up on it, but all y'all have really missed is me trying to clean up some grounds. I went down and disconnected this negative battery terminal from the ground it has down on the engine block there. You probably can't see that. I took that off and cleaned it up and tried to jump it from straight negative terminal on the jumper to the bolt that's there. I tried connecting the positive straight to the starter, getting rid of all these wires out of the equation. That didn't work. I hammered on it a bunch, hit that starter real good. Didn't really get anywhere. It did sound a little different here and there and gave me a little hope, but one thing I did do is throw the boat battery in there. I don't tell my wife because she'd rather see me get the boat running than this whole thing. But anyway, I got the boat battery over here because I felt like the old shot one, where's it at? I thought it was right here. I guess I put it away. I think that was doing more harm than good. Might have been kind of making a draw on Buster over here instead of kind of helping the process. So that still didn't help too much, but I'm going to keep messing with it and hope we can get this thing to turn over, and then we can see if my hack job wiring over here is making any spark happen. And then once we know that, if we have spark, we can throw some gas in it, mess with the carburetor, and hope that it makes some fire and does some stuff. So I'm gonna keep jiggling and wiggling and hitting stuff until we figure out why it's not turning over. I don't want to buy a starter for it because that it's gonna be kind of expensive, and I have some faith, probably misplaced faith, that that starter will turn over, but we'll see what we can do. I hope this thing will turn over. It does seem free. I've spun the dang thing with my hand, and everything turns very easily. You can see the, oh, that's going the wrong way, but you can see she's free, so I think it'll do something. We just got to get it to turn on its own power, or at least by jumping it. With a halfway decent battery in here and a key that kind of works, I'm gonna go ahead and just see what it'll do. Yeah, we got our alternator light. It's making that same noise. Oh, it stopped. Maybe the batteries doesn't have that much juice in it. Still have alternator? Oh, what just happened? We no longer have the alternator light. Interesting. Interesting. I'm curious if it's the battery or the something in the wiring. That's not fun. One step forward, two steps back. I just hooked her up to the jumper cables, and wouldn't you know it, we have the alternator light back. So I think there's juice in that battery. I'm pretty certain there is. So I don't think we're getting a very good connection on our terminals here. But with these connected straight to it, I'm getting some. So I do think I'm losing some voltage somewhere and some amps. You know, she's not got the cold cranking amp she needs to turn over this starter. So I'm trying to figure that out still. Got to figure out a way to get enough juice to that thing to make it spin over. Right now with this connected to the truck though, I just want to see what it'll do. I'll try turning the key again before I start diving into it too much. Holy crap, that I didn't do anything different, and now it's turning over. That is crazy. All right, let's see if we have spark. I'm so glad I tested that before I started hammering stuff again. All right, so here's my spark plug. Let's see. It sounded pretty weak, by the way. We might need to start up Buster and get a little more juice flowing to it, but it could just be the loss of voltage in the wiring. I'm gonna try just seeing if we have spark first, and then I'll crank up the truck. I've got the hood mostly closed, so it's nice and dark in there. Y'all can see the spark. I'm not gonna be able to see it yet, so we'll turn the key over and see if she sparks, and then I'll try to check the video out and see what I can see. Alright, do we have any spark? I'm not very optimistic that we do. Let's take a look. No idea if it's at the right time, but by golly, boys and girls, my hack job has made some spark happen. So it's very weak. That is definitely not enough juice to make this thing fire up. So I'm going to start Buster up and wiggle my connections and everything and see if I can get it to spin faster, because I know my 68 F100 I had would not start when it was that slowly turning, but if you got that sucker spinning quick enough and enough gasoline in it, it would fire up. So I'm gonna turn this thing on and check all the connections and see if it cranks any faster, and then I'm gonna throw some carb cleaner and some gasoline down there and just see what happens. Let's see if she wants to spin over any faster now. I doubt it, but you never know. Maybe a little. I don't know if that's enough to get it to start, but we're already here. Might as well throw some fire juice down there and see what it'll do. I just reconnected that spark plug wire that I had undone and double checking that everything looks connected. I still don't know if I have these wires backwards or not, but it did spark, so we got something. And I know this crap is flammable. I don't think you're supposed to use it as starting fluid, but it should work well enough for what we're doing. It's all I have right now. So I'm just gonna throw some of this mess in there and hope for the best. I'm gonna leave this over here so it doesn't blow up. Might have some flame, but that's what we want. If it catches on fire, it catches on fire. It just ran, first freaking try. I cannot believe this. That is crazy. I gotta do something better with the camera here. I can't believe it freaking started right up. Well, I need to get my gas jug going to it because it might actually run, and I wonder if this fuel pump works. I'm gonna throw a little more in it and get a better angle for y'all with the camera. Maybe we can hear the exhaust. I don't even know what this thing has for exhaust on it. I need to hurry up and move this thing. It's killing my grass. Okay, we got a big old muffler over there. Look how long this drive shaft is. Crazy. I'm gonna shut Buster off so we can hear this thing better. I think it's charged the battery up enough. Where do y'all want to be? Let's see. Got my gas jug professionally installed, and I'm gonna give it some more of that. I'll get y'all in a good spot, hopefully, to see the action here. And I hope this sucker will fire up, and I might be able to jump out, give it a little bit more of this until the fuel pump starts working, if it still works. I mean, look at it. It's old. You know, I wouldn't hate it if it didn't work, but I'd be pretty proud of it if it did. Give it way too much of that. And pump the gas and stuff. Clutch action. Nice exhaust leak. Alright, we're out. That's evaporated. Let's get a little more in there. My gas pedal doesn't feel like it works. I'm trying to figure that out. Sounds like it's gonna die. Ain't nothing wrong with this thing. She's good to go. Let's check out the exhaust. It's nice and quiet, actually. It's got 10 miles of exhaust. Look at that, she's idling and everything. Hey, we'll rev her up from the car. What do you think? Oh yeah, that doesn't like that too much. Woo! Heck yeah. Alright, Megan said we don't even need a new engine now. She likes how this one sounds, so we're just gonna keep it like this. What do y'all think?
smoky like the four-wheeler.
Oh, the hood fell down. I bet the battery fell down. Woo, smoky. That's crazy. Yeah, she sucked down that gallon of gas real fast. That is crazy. Now I just gotta get the boat running, and we'll be, what is that? Let's see, 4 machines out of 4 if we get that thing going. Look at that. She was running good. She was happy, excited to run. I didn't think the hood would close with this battery. Just kind of curious if it will. That's good enough. I don't want to start a fire. Man, look at that. Well, let's figure out what's wrong with the brakes, and maybe I can get this thing to stop. We'll go for a little cruise.
I was worried you were going to run into the house.
I almost did. I had to put it in reverse to not hit the fence, and it was not wanting to go in reverse. I got excited, went in second gear. That was cool.
Good job, babe.
Thanks.
Now you just need to find someone to buy the engine.
Yeah, anybody want to buy a running and driving engine, frame, and everything? She's got a dang 60 in there. Nice wheels and tires, make a nice go-kart. Well, folks, we have got a runner. I really did not think the old girl had it in her, but she really wanted to run. Like, once I got the ignition kind of straightened out, it fired right up and went forward, backwards, didn't stop, but she's ready to go. And as you can see here, I already ran and got some brake fluid. I got more than enough because she is bone dry in here. And I know it's got a leak because it all leaked out in the first place, but I'm hoping it doesn't leak too bad and I can just get it to stop a couple times, maybe make a lap around the neighborhood, hopefully not hit a tree. If anything, I'd like to hit it in the front because I don't care about this grill and bumper, but don't want to mess up this body because I have big plans for it. Another couple things I need to do, the radiator is totally dry as well, so I want to get some water in there. I got a little bit of coolant laying around. So I don't wear out the water pump because I do want to sell this engine, and since it runs, I want to take care of it. Another thing is the bed is totally just chilling on the frame here, and you can see it's kind of moved around a little bit with that little drive. It's kind of sitting farther back. I'm going to ratchet strap it back down. I had it strapped when I trailered it home, but every little bump is going to jiggle that thing around, and I want to take care of it as well. That's something I might use. So I'm going to try to get this thing road ready, and I really don't think I have time for all that in this video, so y'all be sure to come back. I'm going to try to drive it for you, run, drive, and stop. Let's see if she'll do it. Thank y'all so much for watching. This is my dream truck, and I can't believe I got it running. I'm so proud of her right now. Awesome big old land yacht thing that hasn't ran in 20 years. This is so cool. Be sure to subscribe and check out GRAPPAHOLICS on Instagram. All right, we're going to try to get her back home before I run out of gas because I only have 1 gallon and I know this sucker will suck it down. Oh, let's see how this goes. One-handed manual machine here.